This leader is provided to facilitate adjustment of focus. Please be aware there are spoilers contained in this video presentation.
Oh, daddy boy, your pops is calling. Just take the stairs on the elevator, it's still high tide. Hallerhand getting axed, and your pursuit is stalling. And through the snow to the hedge maze you must stride.
The Shining was released in 1980. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actress and Worst Director, but then it also was nominated by the National Film Preservation Board because irony.
This is actually the first time I've seen the movie, which I know. And that's one of the reasons I picked the film. Watching it for the first time, I tried to hold it off for a special occasion, knowing that I wanted to watch it sometime. And I have to say that I thought everything would be revealed, and it wasn't. It turns out that it's a supernatural film that folds in on itself, just about as perfectly as, and is perhaps frustratingly, as one could expect.
One of the things that I read was positing the question, what if there are no ghosts at all? It is just him going crazy.
Sure.
I read Stephen King's book, and I had never seen this either. Very different. Because Stephen King's, it's spooky and it's very supernatural, but it's a lot more about child abuse and alcoholism.
I'm sure I read it because I was reading all of Stephen King, but for some reason I never saw it. The alcoholism is super real, right? And Nicholson really, where the movie lives for him, I think.
I watched a video where the guy hypothesizes that it's the wife that kills everybody and goes crazy just because there are shots where things move in the background. And it works. If you look at it from the standpoint of this essay, it's totally plausible. Because it's so vague, it allows so much backfilling that it makes it so it could be that there's supernatural stuff. It could just be him going crazy. It could be her doing something, or
none of it. Alien abduction.
An essay about the moon landing not being real.
Someone had edited this to where it was a comedy.
They did a trailer.
Meet Jack Torrance.
I'm not a horror aficionado, but people talk about slow burn horror. It creeps and creeps and creeps, and the duration is part of the delight and the terror. But that's in part because everything that's going to be given away is given away, I think, by minute 12.
The Simpsons had a Treehouse of Horror, and they did The Shining.
You've got the shinin'.
You mean shining?
Shh! You want to get sued?
Like, for seeing something that's probably about 10 minutes long for The Simpsons, they nailed it within that 10 minutes.
This house has quite a long and colorful history. It was built on an ancient Indian burial ground and was the setting of satanic rituals, witch burnings, and 5 John Denver Christmas specials.
Oh, John Denver.
Where it's this was 2.5 hours long, where you're like, okay, come on, let's go. Something happened.
You're trudging through the snow. The 1973 Volkswagen, I thought, was really one of the stars of the movie.
That was. Well, and how about drone shots before drone shots?
Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely steady cam, behind the kid while he's riding.
Yeah.
All over. I was like, that was probably the best part.
The steady cam is, it's overwhelming. For a second, I thought it was pre-steady cam for a minute. I'm like, okay, they did all that in Dolly, I can see that. And then I'm like, no. It has the consummate Steadicam feel, and sure enough, it's Garrett Brown running the Steadicam for the whole thing. Obviously,
dude, how about being in a job interview and they talk about the person before you murdering his family?
Come play with us, Daddy.
That whole job interview was bizarre. Would you kill your family if you tried?
Or are you just so concerned with this jacket that I'm wearing?
Or are you concerned about the fact that I've got a window that goes outside behind me that there's no possible way could be to the outside? The spatial representation is something that Kubrick was messing around with, and not a little bit.
He had all the sets built concurrently, so he could shoot it in order, which was a big problem for everybody.
He actually shot in sequence?
Yeah, and
what a loon.
Yeah, just wackadoo.
Well, in the elevator, they built a miniature. Like it wasn't a model, but it was like a quarter size.
Not a model, but an actress.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. Well played, sir. They shot the elevator scene hundreds of times, trying to get the right viscosity and the right flow.
Even when Jack Nicholson is sane, he still looks like he's about a moment from just murdering everybody in that office.
One explanation is maybe he's playing drunk the whole time. Like some people say, dry drunk. He's wackadoo.
I've heard that Kubrick was really abusive with everyone.
That's a shame.
Set, so I can imagine that Nicholson's like, yeah, screw this.
Olive Oil had a full-on breakdown.
Like her hair was falling out. Yeah.
Oh dear.
We're killing ourselves out here, and you've got to be ready.
I am too. I'm standing
So we
right
play
by
mood
the
music?
door.
1907 was when they built the hotel in the story. So the venue that I work at is the National Western Stock Show. The big arena is the 1907 arena. They're saying that it was built the same year as the Stanley. In addition, they talked about how they were attacked by Indians while they were building it. And the last large Indian advance was in 1864. So it's like...
So lies.
I've read an essay on how this is all about America's treatment of Native Americans.
Okay.
And so it's like...
I think that there's some trappings on that. And dude, just don't build stuff on Native American burial grounds.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that is a common theme on all his books.
How great was Scatman, though?
Who is this superhero? Sarge? No. Rosemary, the telephone operator? No. Henry, the mild-mannered janitor? Could be.
Every time Hong Kong Phooey opened his mouth, I was like, that's the guy that needs to survive. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
As you were going into it, the idea of being isolated, it's kind of like being in lockdown on the pandemic. Oh, yeah, that'll be cool. And then until it's not cool, and I think that's what we all learned this last year.
The year-long Shining.
Yeah. No, I was definitely feeling that.
One of the things about this movie is that there are so many people that this is it. This is their thing. And as denoted by the fact that probably a quarter of the movie Ready Player One is an homage to The Shining. There's a huge Shining chunk of that.
I just thought it was so quick, how quick Jack Nicholson succumbs to cabin fever. Like, he hasn't even been there a month and he's already going nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
This is not going to end well.
For anybody, especially Jazz from the Autobots.
Wish me luck!
There were no ukuleles in this movie.
It was completely uke-free?
Yep.
If he had had a ukulele, maybe he would not have gone crazy and killed Scatman's brothers.
Wish me luck!
And that would have made me happier.
He might be alive today.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Wish me luck!
So, you guys know what the Shining, Titanic, and Game of Thrones have in common? Icy dead people. Horror is not really my bag. I feel like this was a really well-made movie. Probably not worth the abuse that for sure Shelley and Scatman Struthers is another one that he made him do the catching the axe scene like 53 times until Jack Nicholson, who's a buddy of him, came in and said, nope, I think we got it. And then when Jack Nicholson says that, then you've got it. I'm going to give it 1.5.
I totally respect the amount of work that went into this. I think it's amazing that this was made in an era before the internet, because it was made to go frame by frame and have people just fall over themselves trying to find every nuance to it. I totally understand how it's lots of people's favorite film. Not mine. Horror is not my bag. I'll give it a 1.5.
I'm a fair weather horror fan. It's a good movie, and looking at like some of Kubrick's work, I can see a lot of correlations, and kind of he uses the same devices for a lot of stuff. And I caught a lot of Clockwork Orange 2001. It was good enough. I would give it probably 2.5.
I would also probably give it a 2.5. As I said, I'm not a huge horror fan. I may have expected more than the movie could deliver. I do like Kubrick. I respect the way that it folds in on itself and the way it is self-contained as a kind of film world. I very much like the way that he uses the self-contained nature of the film to work the horror. I also like the portrait of abuse and alcoholism. So 2.5 hues.
It's over!